Hello and welcome to episode 26 of Rigor Mortis Paranormal. Tonight's stories include a haunting at the Hot Wells Hotel, floating corpse head in the window, phantom killer of Sherman, Texas. I am David, this is Robert and Jasmine.
Hello. Hey guys.
All right, it's been a while.
Yeah, we're just getting back from Jasmine's wedding. Awesome.
Yeah, that's right. Jasmine and Kory, man, that was a beautiful event. It was really beautiful.
Very nice.
Thank you.
I got drunk too, and I started dancing like crazy. And I don't dance, man. Trust me, you don't want to see
my photographer.
The
pictures were all blurry.
I was a photographer the night, and there I was taking pictures of them.
Oh, it's fine.
It's gonna look good.
It was awesome. The DJ stayed. They did up too. That was awesome.
That was cool. Yeah,
I think he stayed longer than I did. He was still out there.
I fell asleep mid in my suit and all that, man. Yeah, because it was cool too. When he was doing when he was playing he was playing like newer stuff.
Yeah, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Well, no, when we were up there, we were dancing, me and Dave were doing the lambada, the forbidden dance. It was awesome.
All kinds of crazy stuff, man. I don't know what it was, but yeah, me and one of my nieces, our niece, we started like going to town. We were doing this dance. I don't know what it was, but we thought we looked cool, man. We were like in sync. We're like bumping knees, and then we started doing this whole like it looked like from Pulp Fiction. That's what I was thinking in my head at the time. I was like, dude, I look like John Travolta right now.
With the peace signs going across your eyes.
I was doing all that stuff, man, and we went back to back and crossed our arms, and we're doing all kinds of crazy stuff. We're like, damn, this is awesome, man. Man, I think if I know somebody recorded it, I just hope I never see it. But I know in the morning, I'm like, man, this has got to look like shit, man.
Drunk people on the phone. And I
haven't seen it yet, but
because I thought I was a decent dancer when I was out there. I looked seriously, it looked like I was about to fall over. Like I look, the only thing I can describe it is like if you guys ever played Left 4 Dead, the video, I look like the boomer. Oh, like he's about to fall because he's like real fat and he walks like he's about to fall down. He's the one that throws up on people. That's the way I was dancing. Like,
your knees were giving out every time.
I wasn't dancing anymore. Let's put my brace on. But it was awesome.
It was fun though.
I had a lot of fun too.
Yeah, so cool.
But
lots of alcohol. So thank you for that, Jess.
Oh, yes. Wouldn't be a wedding without alcohol.
Oh man, but and then too the 2 cakes in the margarita machine.
Oh man, yeah.
Was the margaritas? Were they too strong for y'all?
After a while, the first one, they were just coming out like water. We were like, fucking.
The first batch that came out, everybody was like, "Oh my god!" It's like, did they put anything in there? It just like goes straight liquor.
It was like frozen liquor with food coloring. You know, but it was good. It was good. But you know that we're talking about that, and here we go. So, and I was contemplating whether to tell this story or not. So I think we were talking about like. Oh yeah, remember the tales that happened when you were back in the construction days, man? That's 100 years ago, man, 25 years ago, probably more. He was weird too. A real cool guy, but the guy was he was born on a ranch or a farm or something like that.
What was his name? Does it start with an?
Let's say we'll just call him Cletus, man, because he was kind of he was origin, you know. So
yeah.
Cletus lived, I guess, like we're gonna call him Cletus.
No, we're calling him Cletus.
But I think we're calling him Cletus.
We're for safety reasons.
And the reason I didn't want to talk about this story because but I said, you know what, we've talked about glory holes, ghost raping. So I said, man, I don't know what the hell. Let's talk about bestiality, right? Yeah. and that's why I didn't, but it was so funny because I forgot about it when they told me, okay, this fellow was weird, man, because he would ask you kind of like weird questions. You know, he would ask you like, I am not even gonna get it because they were disgusting. Like, you never slept with your cousin, never. Like, what are you talking about, man? Like, come on, man, you're lying. I'm like, God, that's disgusting. You know, but but he was serious. He was looking at you like, yeah, you all are full of shit. And I was like, wow. I was like, the guy. Here we go. So I'm gonna just might as well get it over with, man. The guy, he was like, they kept their horse not really. I guess it was kind of like a stable, but it was like, I guess it was almost like a garage stable where they just kind of kept them because they didn't have a lot of.
Just do them in the garage.
Yeah, it was like a carport. But it was like an old shed in the back where they just kept it. It was wood, made out of wood.
Yeah.
And they just tied him up there. He was eating his hay and stuff like that. Well, the guy's family was gone. You know, his wife and his kids were gone. They took off.
Lonely?
This wasn't how lonely could be, okay? Yeah.
It was one night.
No, it wasn't even a night. The guys like took off to Walmart or something. So the guy, but I mean, how do you get that?
He was waiting for that opportunity.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Come on, leave. Come on. I know you guys gotta leave. You know?
Oh,
like so, the guy, I guess they left, so he goes and I guess he's like, oh yeah, it's me and you, Sugarfoot. You know, so he goes to, I guess, their stable or, you know, the poor man's stable. So
do you like candles?
Well, I can only pick because the guy did smell like a barn too, man. He just like, you know, like he never showered it. He smelled like Campbell soup, man. The guy just bad underarms, man. Anyway, so he's romancing this horse, right? I don't want to get too much into it.
Doing the deed.
Yeah, he said, and the thing is, I imagine that the guy, he was blessed, I guess, because he was actually arousing the horse. Is all I can say. So what happened is, and this is a huge horse. It's a horse, you know. So the horse kind of backs into him. It backs into him, pushes him against the wall, pushes him through the 2x4s and all that. So he shoots out the back of his whatchamacallit, and he broke like his rib or something. I'm not kidding. He fell on the ground, and that's not the sad part. His kids and his wife were coming up, and they came around and they're looking at him like,
"Oh, you got your pants down."
Like, not again.
Oh my God.
He wound up like, I don't think he even went to the hospital, but he did have like, you could see him like he was at work and he was coughing, he was holding his ribs and
man.
But the guy, the reason we found out is because he told us.
That's what
the guy told us the story.
story.
Like, you know, come on, guys, you never cornholed your horses before. Oh, I don't have a horse, but even if I did, you know, why would you do that? You know, and it's like, but the guy was like, you know, and that's the thing about him is like, oh, you guys are full of shit all the time. It's the same thing, man. I was like, but why I had to say that story, I don't know, but I think it was so funny.
Wasn't there another story about him saying Satan behave or something?
No, that's not the same guy.
Oh, that's another guy.
Totally. That guy was just like that. But
Where did you work at?
Man, seriously, one time, dude, I gotta tell y'all this because it was so freaking awesome. We had my brother Mike on here one time. Our brother Mike, Jasmine's uncle. We had him on. What was it, like the last Halloween episode? I think.
He was on the Halloween episode.
Yeah,
our second annual.
Yeah, he was the one that got beat up by the girls, man. So, but anyway, we were working. I used to work in a construction. Framing is when you see the wooden sticks outside the skeleton of the building or house or whatever. Okay, so in apartments or condos, they have this thing they call a parting wall. It's that huge middle wall that goes in between the different
units, I guess.
There you go. Okay. Then there's two. One goes on one side, and then the other one goes on the other. They go butted up against each other. They're huge. They're long ass walls. So you need all the fellas out there to pick them up because they're heavy. So I remember, man, we used to drink that Rhine wine.
Oh God.
And that what is it? The Merlot.
Oh,
you know, and it was the Gallo, man. The stuff that would just
wine.
screw you up, and the cheapest shit you can find.
Give you bad hangovers?
Yeah.
Bad. A decent buzz, but man, the hangovers, they would come like the same day, you know.
Yeah.
So
couldn't even wait for the next day.
we were doing the party one and we were pushing up. There was this guy that was from Louisiana, real cool cat. I can't remember his name. He was real cool. We're pushing up those, man. I'm not kidding, Dave. It smelled like I don't know, like a dead person.
Oh.
It was disgusting. Mike farted one of those wine farts, right?
Oh, God.
And like the guy was picking it up, and we're all picking them up, and I smelled it too. I was like, oh my God! And I knew it was a limon fart, man. I was like, yeah, that's one of us.
Did I just fart? You thought it was you?
I knew it was Mike, but the guy that was on the other side that was picking it up, he was like, who? Somebody farted. Oh. And I looked and I saw Mike's face was red and he was laughing. Like he was real quiet and he was trying to pick it up. And I, goddamn, Mike. Dude, I tasted that motherfucker. Once, but the guy was like, he wasn't going to let the wall go. And then the sad thing is because the others started smelling their thing. You can hear down the line like, oh, goddamn. So we finally get up and the guy that's walking on top, he has to nail him. And he secures. And even that dude is like, goddamn, I need to get off the building. So everybody, and they didn't know who did it, but I did that. And they were like, oh, somebody farted. I kept walking around saying that. You just smell like fart. Somebody farted over there. I don't know. It's what did they eat, man? Somebody farted. Like, I looked at Mike, and Mike was just laughing. Mike too. That was disgusting. Whoever did that. Anyway, man. Yeah, because I worked with some weirdos too, man. But I'll get some more of those ones because those are some doozies also. But just had to tell you about the pleasuring the horse one, man. So anyway,
damn. Oh, what do you say? Get to our first story?
Yeah, let's do this, man. Let's do this.
So, what do we do? Let's start with the, how about Phantom Killers, Sherman, Texas?
Let's go.
We'll do that.
Okay, this story comes from Mike from San Antonio. He says, this strange incident happened to me and two of my older brothers in the summer of 1970. My father was in the Air Force and we lived on the now closed Parent Air Force Base in Sherman, Texas. I was around 9 years old at the time. The base was surrounded by a high chain link barbed wire fence. Outside the Parent AFB was flat dirt fields. Me and my brother would ride our dirt bikes in the fields. Further down there was a hill with a dirt trail that led to the pond where we played. Behind our house, there was an old abandoned barn in the fields, about 40 yards from our backyard. Well, like I said, it was a nice sunny summer afternoon. We had been having a blast playing and riding our bikes. Then we decided to camp out in our backyard. Me and my older brother set up the family tent. It was awesome. We played board games, told ghost stories, and laughed till late into the night. Then all of a sudden, we heard a lady screaming loudly. We jumped out of the tent, and it was dark. The screaming continued. We were scared and looking around to see where it was coming. David put down the chips. Then my oldest brother said, look, there was a big man dragging a woman by her hair through the dirt field behind our house. We stood there frozen. The man dragged the lady behind the old abandoned barn. Me and my brother ran inside as fast as we could. I could still hear the woman screaming, which sent chills down my back. We ran inside until my dad, he grabbed his gun and ran to the gate that separated our yard to the fields. The screaming had stopped and there was no one in the fields. My father asked again what we saw, and we told him a big man was dragging a woman across the field by her hair behind the barn, and she was screaming. Taking no chances, my dad called the base MPs. They arrived quickly and my dad told them what had happened. Several more MPs showed up with dogs. They headed towards the back of the barn and searched the area around the fields. They had heavy-duty flashlight. There was nothing. There was no blood, no drag marks, and the dogs did not pick up any scents. The MPs couldn't find anything. They said it might have been our imaginations and told us to sleep inside. I saw a lady screaming, being dragged across the fields by her hair by a big man. My brother saw the same thing. It wasn't my imagination. We never saw anything like that ever again in the fields. We normally came indoors before it got dark after that. Parent Air Force Base closed a year later and my dad was stationed in Greece. So I guess this is part 2, or a different story. My mom and dad split up shortly after the Parent AFB base closed, and we would wind up moving with my mom to San Antonio. We stayed with my mom's family for around 2 years. We eventually moved into an apartment. It was a nice place back then. Well, me and my brothers loved to fish. We lived by the San Antonio River We would walk to a place we called the South Cross Bridge. You guys, being from San Antonio, may know where I'm talking about. One day we were out there fishing kind of late. It was starting to get dark. We decided to reel in our lines and get ready to head home. As we were walking up the embankment under the street bridge, I noticed what looked like a tire that was floating down the river towards where we were fishing. I picked up a rock and threw it to the tire. My brother started throwing rocks at it also. As I got closer, we were almost on the top of the embankment near the street. We continued to throw the rocks at the tire. What looked like a tire was now like a big, dark, round, spinning mass in the water, almost like a whirlpool. Then it stopped once it passed the bridge. Then it started to rise and take on the form of a person. It looked like a big, shadowy figure. Then it seemed to float over the water, heading down the stream. We grabbed our things and hauled ass home. I remember crossing the street bridge, looking down at the river, and still seeing the shadowy figure floating away. It was weird. Please use my story. Thank you.
That was a pretty violent beer opening there, Jess.
Take it easy, there's more beer.
I was gonna just bite the can or bottle open.
That's crazy.
That's a cool story.
I looked up Sherman, Texas, and I was trying to look for the base. Was it Barron Air Force Base? What became of that base? It's an airfield. It's like an airport, but it's an airfield. And the only thing I could find is Greater North Texas Airfield or some shit. I think that's what it's called. But it closed down in 1971, I believe. That's when that Parent Air Force closed down. I think they were training pilots there after World War I because it opened like in 1941 to 72 or 71, something. I gotta read it back again. But and it's weird because they started mentioning General Billy Mitchell, and if you go like towards the old Kelly Air Force Base, the roads out there, it's called Billy Mitchell, and then the base that one's named after is from a pilot from San Antonio. Parent, I can't remember. I need to get all these straight. It's a beer, man. It's too much work. But
y'all remember when I was supposed to be the research person?
Yeah. I was like, man, we just gave up on that. We just put it.
Somehow weaseled my way.
That was me. I would have never guessed that. But what happened is I was trying to figure out what kind of fields there were up there because they're going towards east. Actually, Sherman, Texas is right on the border of Texas and Oklahoma. It's like right on the border, like 20 miles away.
Did it have a picture of how it used to?
Yeah, they had it has it like now. Yeah. And it's weird because they have like these old, they can only describe them as barracks and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. But I guess they use them as different things. But like what he was saying, I guess it was the housing, you know, how like the military housing you could get.
But it's weird because they say it was a barn too, right? Or like a farm.
Well, what I was gathering is, and I actually emailed him back, but like, cause sometimes I'll do that, but like the thing is on that one, what he made it sound like the barn was on the outside of around the chain link fence.
And they were on the inside, okay.
Yeah. And so, but man, what's that, man? Because
that's crazy.
He was talking about how he saw some big guy dragging some lady by her hair, and they went behind the barn.
Did you see any stories about that?
I looked up again, Google, and I didn't find anything.
Nothing?
No murders in Sherman, nothing like that. I think like Mrs. Millie's cow got,
you know, a peaceful town.
And somebody had to help her. You know, like you're not gonna. But like, if it did, it's like just like anything else. Like you know, maybe they didn't solve that well, something like that. But
yeah, I mean, was it a ghost thing, or is it just was it a kidnapping, or
it was really organized kidnapping?
Honestly, that's the thing because like, and he said that. Okay, the MPs went out there with their dogs. They couldn't pick up the sand. They didn't see no drag marks. Nothing, no evidence that there was anything out there.
That's really shitty, though, right? It was your imagination.
Yeah, right.
They just don't want to do it. Yeah, these darn kids, you know, y'all should be in bed anyway inside. You know, don't talk about bed while you're sleeping outside anyway. But the thing is, when they were talking about that, I was like, wow, you know, what if those guys actually did see like that actual murder or something? But where's the evidence? They said they got there pretty quick, and they had their heavy-duty flashlights.
Yeah.
But you were figuring with the dogs there too, because you know they're picking up those scents also. So that's kind of crazy. But just to see some shit like that, first they're hearing it out of there, like you know, you're hearing somebody screaming bloody murder. They come running out to see what it is, and then they actually see this guy driving some lady by her hair.
Actually see, yeah.
So that's weird, man. That's a good story.
That was a good story, actually.
Yeah, and
it was a little different. We don't normally get stuff like that. I mean, that's
yeah.
But
The second half?
In the second half, I know you guys remember where this is at because we've been there before. I mean,
yeah, he said what street?
It was South Cross Bridge. South Cross Bridge. The only thing I can think of is where the San Antonio River meets. It's actually between Presa and Roosevelt Street. I know you've seen these. I know you guys have been there and seen these there.
Okay, I think I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
We used to play baseball out there on those fields.
Yeah.
And, like nowadays, if you go over there, I mean, I'm not knocking no one, but there are a lot of homeless folks that do live under there. That's why, I just don't want to deal with, sleeping in somebody's yard, like, you're my property, but not bad, so. Yeah. But he was saying that he saw was like a tower floating down, and then it looked like a whirlpool, and then all of a sudden there was like a form come up. Man, how many times have we heard shit like that? And then it goes back to like what, like Yola and stuff like that,
That's weird though. It didn't even try to go towards them. It just kept floating on.
Yeah, and they said like when they were crossing the bridge, they were looking back and they could see it floating on down.
That's crazy though. Yeah. I wonder if it was residual, maybe, or
right? Yeah.
It could be, but I've heard a lot of stories about rivers. Same shit.
Yeah.
I actually heard one about this guy. He was walking in the embankment of the river, and he was going down on the other side. There was a lady passing. He goes down a little further, and the lady was passing again. So
wow,
he kind of went. He said he didn't pay no mind to it, but when he realized, like, wait a minute, that was the same lady I just passed. So he turned around, and they weren't there on the other side. So. Damn. And there it is, like, what is it, like the Llorona style, but except this, she wasn't a lady, right? So, and then here we go too with when they were talking about ghost by waters and like some traces of water.
Yeah.
How do you say, man? I'm fucked up. Yeah. Some water source. There you go. Yeah. So that's crazy, man. And this goes back to what I was saying about the face in the toilet. That's a water source also.
Good luck with that one. Ghost.
And what was cool about that one is because it kind of reminded me like of the old school, like back in the day, So that was a good story, Mike.
That was a really good one, yeah.
You know what? Let's get to the next story. We want to do. What do you think? There's a haunting at the Hot Wheels Hotel, or the floating corpse head in the window.
That one was pretty good.
Floating corpse head.
That one sounded pretty good.
A floating corpse head in the window. It is. This story comes to us from Blanca from San Antonio, Texas. Blanca writes, "Hi guys, love your show. Back in the early 60s, when I was a young girl, we lived in a haunted house on the west side of San Antonio. We lived close to the San Fernando Cemetery. We moved into this house and almost immediately strange things started to happen. My mom woke up one morning, and when she walked into the kitchen, it was a wreck. All the cabinet doors and drawers were open. All the pots and pans were all scattered on the floor. There were plates and bowls thrown on the kitchen floor. Some of the plates were broken. The spoons, forks, and knives were scattered around. My mother thought it was me and my brothers that made this mess. She then remembered we fell asleep early and that everything was in order when she was done in the kitchen the night before. And also she realized we couldn't have done it early in the morning because she had been the one who woke us up. It was strange. She was getting ready for bed one night when she heard voices. It sounded like several people carrying on a conversation, but she couldn't make out what they were saying. When she was alone in the house, she would see the shadows that looked like figures of people from the corner of her eye move from one room to another. One night when my mom was sleeping, she was woken by something scratching her screen window. She focused her eyes because she was still half asleep. She stayed staring out the window, trying to figure out if there was a squirrel clawing at the screen. As my mom stared, looking at the screen, something started to come into focus from the darkness. It smelled like a rotting corpse. Then she saw it. It was a decaying human head, held up by an unseen hand by its hair. Its eyes were open and its lips were moving slowly, like it was trying to say something, but my mom could not make out what it was saying. My mom said the smell was horrible. My mom was so scared she couldn't move or scream. Finally, she screamed and ran out of the room. She grabbed me and my brothers and left, never returning to that house. My uncle had to move things out of the house for us. I have another story my mom told me about the cemetery by that haunted house. Earlier I had mentioned my mom lived by the San Fernando Cemetery. My mom told me one night As she passed the cemetery, she saw a ghost of a woman in a long white dress walking out of the cemetery toward the old Mirasol housing projects. We were told by other neighborhood residents that they have also seen apparitions. They said they've seen the same thing. The ghost woman would come out of the cemetery and walk towards the Mirasol courts. I hope you guys tell my mom's stories. Thank you so much and keep up the great work. Bye and love you.
Sorry, man.
I had to stop eating chips and salsa because
We got like 5 or 6
crotch.
bags of chips here. Sorry, people.
A lot of horror stories that are coming. That are
Right. But that side of town, though, is pretty creepy, especially right there in that area.
It must be all on Indian burial ground.
Yeah, it is actually. You know what? It honestly, it probably is. I mean, that whole area right there. But that place, yeah, it's kind of creepy there. And I don't know. It's just that's kind of like older San Antonio, I think.
Yeah, the west side. And those houses are old. I mean, some of them are built in the 30s and 40s. And it's an old neighborhood.
It's funny because remember our grandmother's house was built in the 1930s or something like that, or
probably a little bit more like 20s. But that
20s,
was
right? Yeah.
Yeah, and that was an old part of San Antonio also. I mean, we had all these old houses, but what they're talking about is more west side.
Yeah.
And because they mentioned towards the end the San Fernando Cemetery. Actually, though, it's actually around a business, and it's not secluded like other cemeteries. There's couples. Visit General McMullen. All those big streets are out there, and there's a lot of businesses out there. And it's weird because it's a big cemetery, and it's an old one too.
Actually, don't they have like a number 1 and number 2? I mean, they had to break it up because it was so big.
Yeah. The house that they were living in, I don't know, what do you think, Jazz? They were talking about the kitchen area always being, in the morning, all their utensils and everything were thrown around and strewn around on the floors. Is that what, like poltergeist activity, or
sounds like it,
or like violent ghosts? It seems like everything that we've been getting has some kind of shadow person in there also, and I guess they're just becoming more popular than we think.
Jasmine, give us your expert opinion.
Yes, Jazz, please. Indulge.
I think is. I walked away during the story. I'm trying to catch up.
What was this one about? It was about the mummy. Remember the mummy?
No. We know Jasmine had like quite a bit to drink, and you're gonna have to leave in just a little bit, aren't you?
Yeah, you're
just gonna have to drink and drive.
Remember when you started hitting those? The maintain focus. Yeah, that was the one that we were talking about where she saw.
I heard about the head, and right. This is the story, right?
Yeah, was it about a foot or something? There's like a foot.
A hungry ghost.
No, yeah,
it was held by an unseen hand.
Yeah, by the unseen hand was grabbing it by the hair.
Okay.
It was like a corpse head. Rotting head, or
But what did she say? She can actually smell it.
Yeah, and they can smell it too. Oh my God!
Sulfur.
Smells like sulfur.
Yeah, like that's disgusting. And when she said that she got up and she grabbed her kids and they took off because they never came back.
Oh, fuck yeah.
Then I said, their uncle had to actually come and move
Why?
for them.
Why would you want your stuff after that?
Right? Leave it there. Yeah, probably bringing it with you is like something that you had.
Yeah. But at that moment, you know what? I wonder. I gotta email them back and say, you head again after you took the furniture back.
That's true, right? Yeah.
But she said like obviously this was back in the day because I think she mentioned it was like in the 60s.
Yeah, in the 60s. Yeah, that's right.
Also, another thing too, because I looked it up and I couldn't say anything. The ghostly lady in white that walks to the Mirasol courts.
Just smelly head.
No, but the smelly head from the west side. Yeah. I'm talking about because she was saying that after that. But they had the lady from the cemetery that was walking to the Mirasol courts, man. Those are old, man. I don't even think they're there anymore.
I was gonna say, I don't think I've even heard of those, so it's gotta be from,
Well, I mean, they had those, all the Alazan, Apache, San Juan homes, all those were out there.
Those, all those
but
courts.
Mirasol was out there too.
I remember Mirasol.
And those were some rough projects out there, but he said that the ghost would come out of San Fernando Cemetery and walk towards why they were walking towards Mirasol. I don't know.
I know, right? Jeez.
Maybe that's where she got murdered or something, but I just couldn't figure out for the life of me though. I looked it up and I couldn't find it, but she was saying that other people talked about it. So I mean, I'm sure there's somewhere out there, and you find those old timers, they probably knew of the legend or something. You know how in San Antonio we always got all kinds of legends and things that are going on like that. So I mean, I don't know.
That'd be a neat story to really, if we can find stuff on it, that'd be so cool.
That would be awesome, man. So Anyway, thank you so much for that, Blanca. That story. That was a good story.
Great story.
Yeah,
I liked it.
What did you say, Dave?
Yeah.
How's the music go, Jess?
Yeah. How does this? Oh.
That's it. Dun, dun,
Dun, dun.
dun, dun, dun.
All right, that's more like it.
I was trying to remember the song you made.
Uber. We're doing an Uber.
Let's do an Uber story.
day.
Ready? Uber.
Excuse me, did you call for an Uber? It's about time. Can you hurry it up? Very well. I will get you then 2 sips of a Lone Star beer. Oh no, oh no, oh no. Why would you do this to me every time? Oh no, no, no. I cannot lose another star. Oh, come on, baby. Please start for me, you piece of junk. For the love of Uber, please turn on, please. Oh no, 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 no. Many humble pardons, my Uber friend. Oh no, 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 no. Would you like a mint or bubble gum? Thank you for riding with Uber, Dave. 5 stars, please.
So it's about 9 a.m. Man, I get a call to pick up this guy in the seedy part of town. I drive up to this old beat-up house and sit outside for about 2 minutes. And then this guy calls me and he says, I'll be out in a couple of minutes. I'm like, all right, cool. You know, man, you can actually charge him, like, I don't mean, it could make you wait too long.
Oh, you didn't give him a waiting?
Well, yeah, because they're like taking other clients away from you.
Yeah,
Like
start the meter early, I guess, almost. Man, anyway, so I'm sitting there and I wait. And I wait, and I wait. And then all of a sudden, this guy, mind you here, this is 9 a.m. This guy waltzes out wearing nothing but tighty-whities and some light blue fuzzy handcuffs.
Walk of shame.
Yeah, hanging on his right wrist. He's got a blonde wig.
Are you serious, man?
Yeah, and then he's got some glitter makeup on his face and his chest. I'm like, oh, dude, okay, so this guy's like, 9 a.m. again, man. I'm like, dude. This guy's wearing handcuffs.
I'm telling you, he's trying to get home before his wife notices he's gone.
Where are we going for breakfast?
I know, I'm like, dude, kind of tidy whitey. I'm like, seriously, dude? I mean, put some clothes on. But anyway.
Was he an older guy?
Huh? He was older, probably like in his 50s or like maybe 60s. I'm like, dude, and really put some clothes on. You don't look too hot, to begin with. So I'm like,
was he holding? That's like the girls that walk out and they're wearing they're carrying their high heels.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah, he was. I'm like, dude, okay, whatever, man.
Was he barefoot? He just came out just in his trunks and
just trunks. No, just underwear. That's it, and handcuffs. That's it. Nothing else. No shoes or nothing. Dude. He was barefooted.
Jesus, man. How are you going to come out like that, bro?
Yeah, I know. I'm like, dude, seriously? Something's got to be up here. So I'm like, all right, whatever. So,
don't ask questions.
Yeah.
I'd be afraid to, man.
I know. I was kind of, but I was like, man, I don't know. Sometimes you got to try and be nice. Or just, I'm kind of thinking in the back of my mind.
I'm nosy, so I would ask questions.
I want to figure this out.
So where are we going?
So,
Locksmith?
Yeah. So now the guy just hops in the car and just like, let's go. And I'm like, all right, cool. So man, I just
let's go. Where are we going?
Yeah, I know. So man, I couldn't let it go. And I was like, okay, it was just too weird and too early in the morning. So I was like, all right, cool. Let me break the ice with this guy. So
nice weather we're having.
No, I just kind of.
So what'd you do?
Come on, Jonathan. What the fuck, man? For real.
Man. Wally to figure this out. I'm like, dude, what did I say, man? But I told him, hey.
So where do you think Kawhi's going?
I just told him, I was like, hey, took a little extra time to put on your outfit, I see. I was like, all right, cool, let's just see if this guy's gonna be cool or not.
My friend.
Oh, the guy just like, oh, very funny, I said, no, I'm just kidding, man. I said, headed to a costume party this early, or, what's going on? He's like, no, I'm going to work. I know, and I'm like, okay. And so then again, with my smart-ass questions, I'm like, okay, so I heard of Casual Fridays, but man, I'm like, dude, this is pretty dang casual. And I'm like, dude, okay, hold on, man. And he's like, nah, the people at work, they like it best. And he's like, besides baby blue handcuffs brings out the color of my eyes. And I'm like, all right, dude. I'm like, dude, okay.
He's like, your eyes are brown.
He's trying to accessorize, I guess, with his eyes. I don't know, like.
He didn't have anything else, dude.
Yeah, he's standing with the cuffs. Okay, I got these ones, but I think these ones bring out the color of my eyes a little better. It's like, yeah.
Was it pink or blue? No, blue. Blue brings out the blue.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, dude. It's like, yeah, that makes good water cooler talk at the office, don't it? And he's like, no, I find it thrilling to be the center of attention.
Man, I'm really not, man. I mean, seriously, Well, where do you work? I mean, was it like a law office or a hospital or what?
Yeah.
The children's hospital.
No, what happened was, so we pulled up to the destination, and there were about 5 or 6 guys waiting outside of the house, you know, and they were like whooping them on.
They were wearing the same thing or what?
He was just going to another house. I mean, I guess it was a party or something in the morning. And anyway, that was that. I mean, pretty much, there wasn't much to the story other than just some strange character I picked up at 9 a.m.
some weirdos.
That's what I was just about to say, man. It seems like it's fun but scary at the same time. Like, you don't know what to expect when they're coming in your truck. Like, you know.
It is, man. I mean, look, I had all kinds of crap happen already to my vehicle, dude. I'm like, dude, this is crazy.
Yeah. Oh, shit. Here comes a scented fella, right? You know he's going to have some kind of fucking funk on him. Did he smell like baby powder or what?
Yeah, I don't even remember now.
Like baby glue.
I was like, at least it was clean, I guess. He had, nothing on, but
his ass cheeks on your leather.
Oh God, don't even remind me. I had to douse that down, man. But anyway,
get reupholstered.
I'm like,
gross.
It was gross, man. But I mean, it's always an adventure, man. I tell you, you just don't know what you're gonna get, man.
That's true.
I would
guess it would be kind of cool too. But I mean, you can deny a rider, right? Like,
oh yeah, you can. Yeah.
Like, but I mean, I don't think I would either. I said, man, I gotta find out what's going on.
No, something like that. Like, dude, I gotta find out.
Wait a minute. Shit just got interesting.
Anyway, what do you say, fellas? We get on the last one?
Yeah, let's do the last story, man. That is
Haunted Hotel, Hot Wells?
Yeah, Hot Wells Hotel, man. Yeah, check this out.
The story comes to us from Adolf from San Antonio, Texas. He writes, "Hello guys, I wanted to tell you about something weird that happened to me when I was a teenager in the late 80s. I used to play guitar in a local heavy metal band back then. Sometimes after shows we would pick up chicks and go party in secluded areas. Well, one night after a show, me and a couple of the other fellas from the band met up with these 3 girls. We were trying to decide where we were gonna go party. One of the girls we picked up suggested an abandoned, burnt down hotel by her house. When we arrived at the hotel, I saw it was the Hot Wells Hotel. It used to be a luxurious hotel back in the old days. Now it was a crumbling structure. There wasn't much left to the hotel, only a couple of stone walls and the burnt out main building. It was a very dark and creepy place. It was a perfect spot for partying. We started drinking and laughing, and we were having a good time. Then one of the girls had to pee. There was no portable restrooms out there, so they were going to have to find a bush or something. There was a room in the hotel that looked promising. It was one of a few rooms that had a door. All the girls decided to go as a group, and they asked if we could wait for them outside of the room. So we walked them to the room, and they all walked in and closed the door. Not even a minute in there, one of the girls let out a blood-curdling scream. The girls all came running out of that room, some still picking up their pants. They were hysterical and crying. They all ran straight for the car. Me and the fella saw them running, so we started to run too. I kept asking them, what's wrong? What happened? But they kept running to the car. When we made it to the car, we all jumped in and the girls kept saying, go, just go. So we made it to the road and I got upset and asked again, what the fuck happened? One of the girls said, when she was peeing, she looked towards one of the other girls who squatted down in the corner of the room. When she squatted down, a huge shadow person stood up from behind her and walked to the other side of the room and disappeared. She said it was very big. I thought maybe she had too much to drink and imagined it all, but one of the other girls said she saw it too. We drove the girls home, and that was the last time I went to the Hot Wells Hotel. I passed by it a few times since then. Nowadays, I'm an HVAC tech. In January of 2018, I get a call from dispatch. My boss wants me to meet him at a certain address. Our company was bidding on a contract for a big hotel restoration and needed me there to see the amount of work that needs to be done. When he gives me the name of the street, I couldn't believe it. This is one address I didn't have to GPS. It was the Hot Wells Hotel. They are doing a restoration job on it. I get to the site and start walking around with the project manager, and I'm like, man, this brings back some memories. Then I see the little room that scared the hell out of us 30 years ago. only looking more run down with more graffiti. As I'm looking in the old room, one of the workers tells me, "Did you see a ghost in there?" I said, "Excuse me?" He said jokingly, "Do you see any ghosts in that room?" I asked him, "What do you mean?" He said most of the workers don't like going in that room. He told me that one construction worker walked in that room and he said someone grabbed him by the arm hard. He was the only one in that room. They say the whole place is haunted. The night security guarding the building also claimed to see shadows and hear voices all over the property. Well, our company didn't get the bid and the Hot Wheels Hotel is still being restored. I can't wait till they're done. Hope you guys can use my story. Maybe you can do more research on the hotel and find out more about the hauntings there. Thank you, RMP. That's a great story. You know what? I was looking up info on the Hot Wheels Hotel. Yes, they are actually trying to restore it. I heard
that's awesome that they're doing that, though.
Yeah, it's neat, man. Back in the day, it had like the big boys on the block from back in the day. Listen, like Tom Mix, and I think they said even Theodore Roosevelt.
Yeah, Theodore Roosevelt actually stayed there. Yeah.
Yeah, and they had like, you know, I think even what's his face at was it Fatty Arbuckle, and they had like a bunch of people they traveled to.
I know it was a big hotel back in the day, though.
Yeah, it was supposed to be like real luxurious. They have old pictures and stuff. If you look up Hot Wheels Hotel, they'll have like old pictures of what it looked like, and their spring. That's what they was there.
And that's here in San Antonio, by the way, San Antonio, Texas.
Yes,
okay,
yes.
So I don't think we actually ever mentioned that. But,
yeah, you're right. Actually, I think it was established in 1960 when it opened. But they were saying that the springs were there. They discovered them in 1894. They were part of the San Antonio State Hospital. They actually discovered them by mistake. They were, I can't remember what they were doing, excavate or something, but they ran into the springs. And a lot of people would go by, they would, you know, they said it would cure liver disease, skin disease, rheumatism, and sepsis. I didn't know it did that, but like they were saying that it helped them.
The water from the springs?
Yeah, that, and then, you know what, though, it's weird because those pools are still there to this day.
Yeah, I know they are.
The ruins are still there, and but the thing is like there have been like several fires there. Like the first one was in 1894, and they said that it wasn't the hotel yet, because the hotel was built in I think it was 1916.
Really? Was it that late? I thought, 16.
Yeah,
I thought you said 60.
No, it was 1916.
Oh, okay. That makes more sense. Yeah. Okay.
And that they had built like a smaller place. It wasn't very big, but it burnt down in 1894. And then that's when Otto Collar, owner of Pearl Brewery, he took over. At one time, it was a 3-story building with 80 rooms, and then it said it had 15 private baths and. I can't even read my own word. Well, anyway, it was state of the art and all that.
Yeah, I remember it was like a really big deal.
Yeah. Cecil B. DeMille, that was one of the ones who stayed there. Tom Mix, Douglas Fairbanks, Rudolph Valentino, actress Sierra Bernhardt. I never heard of her, but I'm sure she was big. Also in 1906.
Man, 1906, you're going way back, yeah.
Yeah, they were saying that the Cincinnati Reds held their training camp on the grounds there, and that the reason that that place actually went down was when Prohibition came around. Alcohol was the main source of the income for Hot Wheels.
Wow. Okay.
So when Prohibition came around, that's kind of what kind of
shut it down.
Yeah, they were saying that's actually what did shut it down. And then they said it became like a school for parochial, I can never say that, for the little kids at schools. It was called El Dorado School. That one burnt down in it burned to the ground in January 17, 1925. But the firefighters were able to save the bathhouse.
That's the important part.
Yeah, they said it was a trailer park, and the lobby of the bathhouses was converted into a bar and grill called the Flame House, and it operated until 1977. And then they were saying again, 1988, it was hit by lightning, and the main structure burnt down again in 1997. That was by arson, and then again in 2011, arson again.
Why even bother rebuilding this place?
That's what I'm saying. You know, like, I wonder how it's gonna burn. What's gonna happen next?
I wonder how it's gonna burn next. No, it's something completely different.
But they were saying that the main structure from the old one, it still remains, and some of the walls and the pools still are there.
So some of the original walls. Wow. Okay.
So I mean, that was
definitely gonna burn again.
I could not, for the life of me, find anything haunted about the place. Nothing. I went left and like, and it's weird because they were saying they had about haunted sites, but they kept referring back to the old state hospital, and that hospital, even then, that one, that's a totally different one.
Right.
I actually called one of the ghost tours, because you know how there's ghost tours, and I'm not gonna mention because when I called them, they were like, they told me he didn't know what the hell I was talking about, man. He was like,
really?
Yeah, man, the dude was. He's like, I don't know what you're talking about. I sure wish I could hang up already, you know? Like, okay, we'll take 7 nice days, you know?
I'm done with this conversation.
But, you know, not to say that this didn't happen, but I couldn't find anything on it, man.
Well, you know, because I always hear stories that it's haunted, too. I mean, but just personal stories. But it's weird that you're saying, if you looked online, you couldn't find nothing.
Yeah, haunted hot wells.
Crazy, man.
I mean, like, right now I can type in haunted Alamo. Man, boom! It's come up with stories, ghost tracks, whatever. You're gonna see it. Man, hot wells. I gave hot well hotel. Man, it just burnt down 4 times.
Man, that's crazy, man.
But it's not to say that it didn't, and it's kind of weird too because the guy was talking about how he's seen shadow people when they're doing the business, whatever.
I believe it, man. I mean, I believe it because, like I said, there's just been way too many stories that come out of there, and it's just weird though that there's nothing online. That's actually just as scary as the stories themselves.
I mean, I tried everything. I tried typing it different,
Right.
Wells of the Hot. I was like, anyway. Like he said, he went back like 30 years later. And even the workers, they're having problems. So obviously there's something there that maybe somebody missed or something happened there. And it could be too because they're renovating it. Maybe the ancient burial grounds. Anyway, thank you, Adolf, for that story. It was awesome, man. We gotta talk more about our upcoming things and Patreons too, man. We gotta give props, man.
Definitely, Christina Mendoza was our latest Patreon that donated to our cause and to our beer and all that good stuff. We're looking at Facebook earlier and noticed that you were in a car accident. I hope everything turns out okay.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Hope all's great.
I hope everything's good,
And we appreciate what you're donating to us, even though you had yourself a car accident. So
that's awesome, that was really nice.
Definitely.
Also, too, y'all gotta bear with us. I know they're coming not frequent, our episodes. We love doing them. We love you guys. We love all the input and everything. The stories y'all are giving us are awesome. The likes, everything. We're enjoying it so much. This is why we're doing other stuff like the filming, and we're trying to give you all more also. And we hope y'all do enjoy it. I mean, David, man, doing an awesome job on the filming.
It's a team effort.
Yeah,
it's a team effort.
And the thing too is like in the acting and stuff like that. Hopefully we can produce. And mind you, man, we got like a $30 budget, so.
That's the other thing too. Yeah, I mean, borrowing from friends and stuff. Hey, do you have a phone we can borrow? And do you have outfits and this and that, and just people we can borrow from, or whatever.
But we're having a blast doing it, and we sure do appreciate all you guys' inputs and everything, all the nice and kind words we've been getting. So it's awesome. Just keep it up, fellas. We thank y'all for that.
Again, we should probably mention the Patreon page, just like Christy Mendoza did. Visit our Patreon at patreon.com/Rigor Mortis Paranormal, and you can donate as little as $1 a month. That's it, $1 per month. It's not a lot, but if you could do that, we greatly appreciate that. Because again, we do got a lot of beer that we need to buy. And
I'm standing, when I'm listening to Dave here, he's like, just $1 a month can supply beer for 2 weeks for these alcohol.
Yeah, exactly.
Rigor Mortis. There's other things.
It does. We need to do that. That's another thing we need to do. We should make an infomercial like you're saving people. That's a great idea.
You're killing our livers, but man, you're making us happy, man.
Just $1 per month. And you too can be a part of
But that was awesome though. That was good, man. Hey, you got that, man. You got it down perfect.
Hey, another thing. Have you heard our brothers lately? We got brothers and a cousin. I swear, man, these guys they're great. They're constant. They're consistent. And they're very consistent at doing what they do. They got 3 podcasts that I know of. They may even have more. That's what I don't know how they do that. You got Mind the Chorus. That's with Nathan and Eric. Eric's a cousin. Nathan's a brother. They got Pleasure Den, which is Nathan and Eric.
Pleasure Den, yeah.
And then they got Earful, which is Nathan and Jason. Jason's our other brother. And in that one, they dissect songs, and it's really interesting. They're actually all interesting. They're really good. Anyway, if you guys...
really good at doing that.
Yeah.
The deal with me is like, when we do this, we actually got to find time. And it's like I said, like Dave said also, we do have our day jobs, and we're constantly busy doing that. And
we got families and such.
Awesome, and that's the thing too. But them having that kind of energy just to get up in the morning to do that, and have 3 of them going.
Yeah, no, at least 3. They may have more than that. I don't know how they do it. Yeah. And they do several episodes in one day. My God, if we did a second episode right now, we'd be slurring like you wouldn't understand us.
We were snoring. You could hear an hour of snoring. Choking on saliva, that's me.
It'd be horrible. No, yeah. It'd be like a snore fest, man.
Oh, but thanks for everything, fellas. And man, the stories are coming in, and they're coming in awesome, Dave.
Yeah, they are. Changing subjects here a little bit. If you haven't seen it yet, we got a trailer on YouTube. It's a story that we did in episode 5. This is something we're going to start doing again. I think we mentioned before that we're going to do the Mountain Monsters. We're going to do like a parody of that, but we kind of push that one back a little bit because that one's going to involve trying to get permits or something to go do it on some property and all that.
There's a lot more to
just a lot more to it.
Yeah.
So
it's still on the back burner. I mean, that's something that we're still going to do.
Yeah.
But I think this was kind of a little better to get our feet wet. Man, David, you do amazing stuff with the camera anyway, so I think it's going to look kind of good.
It's called Marianne O'Neill, and if you check out episode 5, we told a story on there. It had something to do with a lot of our personal stories, so that was back in the early days, man, episode 5. But anyway, if you go to our YouTube channel, I don't know what it is. Just visit our website, rigormortisparanormal.com.
Yeah, it'll be episode 5, well, we can just kind of give them the heads up. It's basically, I don't know how we got a hold of that number. And every time we called it, there was a lady on the other line would say, my name is Marianne O'Neill, don't come over, don't call back. And the thing is, she was an actual person. It wasn't a recording, it was an actual...
Yeah, it sounded like a recording. Oh, that's weird. That's what everybody says. Even our sister, Melissa, she said the same thing. She was like, you know what? We thought it was recording. That's what everybody remembers in the family is that...
Until when Steven tripped her up, when he started saying, my name is Marianne O'Neill, don't come over. And then she started getting tripped up on her lines, and she was like, stop. It was weird.
I wish y'all still had access to that.
I don't know. We still had that number.
A backstory, because since y'all said that, I looked it up, the name.
I looked it up too.
Different spelling. And
I can't see anything on that. I found nothing on that.
Yeah, there's nothing. That's what's weird. I mean, and then again, it was from the 70s, so what are we going to find on that? I mean,
they didn't Facebook anything?
Yeah.
I want to say it was Steve who gave us that number. Our brother Steve, the one who fell off the face of the earth. But I want to say it was him who hooked us up, but where did he get it? And who the hell found that? I mean, but back then, that was the shit, too. Like, you were bored. I mean, like... We didn't have, we had like 3 or 4 channels, black and white, and we used to do it the old-fashioned way, go outside and play. And
our video games were Pong and Pong, and that's about it.
So that's what we would do. We'd prank call people, and we had fun doing that. That was our fun. But anyway.
Check it out on YouTube right now, or at least the trailer right now, and we're hoping to get this short story out, the short horror film. And we're hoping to get that out by sometime in the summer, early summer, hopefully.
Yeah, hopefully. And hopefully, when they give the awards out, man, y'all guys, remember us, man.
Yeah, give us a thumbs up, man. And, give us a like and stuff. We could use some. We actually got our second person that donated some money to us on Patreon. Man, that's weird. That's awesome. I love that. Yeah, 2 people. We're all excited about 2 people.
They're like, yes.
But, hey, it's a start. And of course, we need that for all of our projects, man. Mainly the beer fund. But beside that, our videos and
what's his name? Gilmore.
Podcasts.
I can never say Gilmore. The one that did the water. Maybe he'll buy one of our scripts. The one that did the water, Shape of Water. No, wait, am I butchering? I can't ever say his. He's gonna buy our script.
Yeah, maybe him or Robert Rodriguez, man. And that guy, next thing you know, Robert Rodriguez said, Robert Rodriguez film. Just like
written and produced by Robert Rodriguez.
Based on his own personal story, right?
Story by Robert Rodriguez.
Marianne O'Patrick. That's still be kind of awesome, right? Kind of looks like ours, but it's spelled different. But we can't wait to do that, and hopefully more, man. And I can't wait, man. David, we're lucky because we got to see the trailer before y'all. It was awesome. David, man, amazing.
Thank you. But again, it was everybody, that was involved in this too. So,
No.
Jasmine looking gory for us. Hopefully, we've been getting all kinds of stories, hits, likes, follows. I mean, on all our channels.
Comments, people have been
comments,
You know what, though? It's been positive feedback, which is, I guess, giving me a swell head. Really, it has, man, because I'm digging it.
It's a good feeling.
And the kind words and stuff, it's awesome, man. I'm digging it. But especially those stories, man. Just keep those stories coming in because they're awesome. And man, we're getting them from everywhere too.
Yeah, even out of the country, so that's awesome.
Yeah, and that's kind of crazy. I didn't know, but like I said, just bear with us, man. We love doing this, and we're gonna continue doing this. But just thank y'all so much.
So if you guys want to leave a story, you can give us a phone call. Rob, what's that phone number?
That number is 210-901-8666.
Or you can always email us at info@rigormortisparanormal.com, or you can use our Gmail, which is rigormortisparanormal.com@gmail.com. Thanks a lot for listening. We really appreciate you.
Well, I'm sorry, Dave.
No, I'm sorry.
I just wanted to remind them about the 3-minute call.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, the 3-minute call. Make sure that when you do calling your stories, make sure that if it's going to go over 3 minutes, because they're cheap ass phone system, but like if it goes over 3 minutes, just call back and tell us it's part 2 of this story. We'll definitely edit that bad boy and get it on there and make me sound like a pro.
That's exactly right. Ain't that right, Jess? You got some chips in your mouth there, I see.
That's right.
Appreciate you guys listening and for all your support. Good night.
Night, guys.
Good night.
David, put down the chips.